Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Every Door Open Women Leadership and the Legacy We Leave Behind, featuring State Senator Patty Kim. My name is Anita Levels, as mentioned by Director Brotman, Civil Rights Outreach Coordinator in the Pittsburgh region, west here in the Commonwealth. And I have the honor, and we have the honor of having our Executive Director, Chad Lassiter, here with us today, who is going to provide us opening remarks.
Thank you so much, Anita. Good afternoon to all the PHRC staff, all of our colleagues throughout the Commonwealth, and just social justice stakeholders in and of themselves. I first want to just thank ASL. Deb has heard me say this a considerable period of time. It's an art, it's a discipline, it's a science, and we are so very fortunate to have you all here. Elated and really bowled over with a lot of joy because our speaker today, Senator Patty Kim, is a very genuine, authentic servant leader and politician, but also she's a person of the people. So put on your metaphoric seatbelts and get ready for what she's going to present. We are going to allow some time for Q&A. Happy Women's History Month to everyone, and specifically to the women of the PHRC that keeps the social justice engine going. This is our 5th consecutive year in which every week in the month of March, we hold and host a Women's History Month event with phenomenal leaders. In the past, we've had Madam Speaker Joanna McClinton. We've had Governor Wolf's wife. We've had Frances Wolf. We've had Secretary Teresa Miller. We've had so many wonderful women who have come and presented to us. So please check out our PHRC YouTube so that you can see them. And I would like to hold space for a special woman in my life. My wife, who is here with us today, she's probably going to stay off camera, but we can throw a picture of her in the chat. She's going to be retiring from Independence Blue Cross March 31st after 31 years as a health policy analyst. Phenomenal woman. I am because we are. And so I want to hold space for you, Stella Lassiter, for being here today, even though you're soon to retire, that you came and you're going to be here. So without further ado, I know, Anita, you're getting ready to read the bio of Senator Patty Kim. To Senator Kim, I was just with you yesterday in your office. Thank you for all that you do for the people of the Commonwealth, for your constituents, and probably so many other people that we can't even quantify. So sincerely, just thank you for being our Women's History Month speaker. And so tossing it back over to you, Anita, and happy Women's History Month to you too, Anita and Director Brotman.
Thank you so much, Edie. And congratulations to your wife in her retirement, and happy History Month, Women's History Month with her. So let's keep going. State Senator Patty Kim. Patty Kim currently serves as the Pennsylvania State Senator representing the 15th District, which encompasses Lower Dauphin County. Elected to the State Senate in 2024, she brings extensive legislative experience from a decade of service in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, where she represents the 103rd District from 2013 to 2024. In the House of Representatives, Kim served as the chair of the House Insurance Committee and was previously chair of the Aging and Adult Services Committee, which made her the first Asian American to serve as chair of the Pennsylvania House Committee. She is also credited with creating and serving as the first chair of the Pennsylvania Legislative Asian Pacific American Caucus. She has previously served on the Appropriations, Education, Insurance, and Local Government Committees. She's a member of the United Way of the Capital Region Board of Directors. Prior to her work in the legislature, Kim was elected to the Harrisburg City Council, where she served 2 terms. She was elected as council vice president by her colleagues during her 2nd term. Throughout her legislative career, Senator Kim has been a strong advocate for education, funding, small business growth, and ensuring access to quality health care for all Pennsylvanians. She has championed legislation to raise the minimum wage and has earned recognition for her efforts to bridge partisan divides and work collaboratively to achieve practical solutions for the working family space. A 1995 graduate of Boston College, Patty is married to John. Together with, they have 2 children. Please give Senator Patty Kim a Women's History Month welcome here. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Anita, so much for that introduction. Thank you to Chad Lassiter for welcoming us all here today. I am so grateful and honored to be able to speak with you for a little bit today on this gorgeous weather, at least here in Harrisburg. PHRC, thank you so much for your tireless work across the Commonwealth. Happy Women's History Month. We want to remember and pay tribute to our mothers, our grandmothers, the women who serve in public and the women who serve in private. We are all better off because of them. The title of my talk today came from an experience back in 2012 when I was attending the Democratic National Convention speech. Michelle Obama walked on stage, and I acted like a Swiftie uh, at a Taylor Swift concert. It was so embarrassing. I love her. She is everything that I strive to be: strong, honest, intelligent, a great mother, and most of all, how she persevered during the 8 years of constant attacks to the White House as First Lady. 14 years later, I still quote her from that night when she spoke on stage. And she said, "When you've worked hard, done well, and walked through that doorway of opportunity, you do not slam it shut behind you. You reach back and you give others, folks, the same chances that helped you succeed. You don't slam it shut, but you keep that door open." So today I wanted to share with you the people who opened doors for me, the doors that I helped open, and how we keep it open for the younger people coming up from behind. And as you listen to my stories, I want you to put in the chat, if you're able, people who you remember today, who gave you that opportunity that helped you become that person you are today. I want to pay homage to these folks, these special people, and refresh our gratitude for them. I think it's important. Of course, it's optional, but I would love to read the names of the people you put in after our session is done. I told the executive director that it is impossible for me to speak for a full hour. I think it's physically impossible for me. So I can let you know that you'll probably get some time back. And again, it's beautiful in Harrisburg. And to get some sun and vitamin D, I would really be happy if you could do that. So talking about the doors that have been opened, it started before I was born. As you know, more than 36,000 Korean War veterans gave their lives in defense of freedom for this little country called Korea. My parents were children during that time. It was in the 50s. My dad, they don't talk about the war very, like hardly at all. Like, who wants to relive their trauma? But he said, just one little story he told me is that he remembers seeing the American soldiers there, and he cobbled up in his best English because he knew they carry candy and gum, and went up to one of them and asked for that. And the kind soldier gave him some candy, and that laid an impression on him for until now, who he's 90 years old now. American soldiers fought to stop the spread of authoritarianism and protected a young democracy. It allowed my parents to grow up with freedoms and not under a dictatorship. And I know some of you on this call may have had a father, a grandfather, or relative who served in the Korean War. I will be forever grateful for their sacrifices. Moving on to the civil rights movement, that played a major role in opening opportunities for Asian American immigrants by breaking down racial barriers in US law and immigration policy. For example, the pressure from civil rights leader helped lead to the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, signed by President Lyndon Johnson. Now, before, immigration policy favored Europeans and kept immigrants from Asia out. My dad and mom weren't married at the time, but came separately to the US shortly after that law passed. The civil rights movement didn't just transform rights for Black Americans. It reshaped American law and values in ways that opened doors for many immigrant communities. I will be forever grateful for the sacrifices of those who fought for the civil rights movement. In college, I wanted to serve in my own way, and I thought it would be great to be a nurse. There was a major nursing shortage back then, as there is one today. and I tried my best to become a nurse, but unfortunately, that chemistry class, got a D in it. Wasn't for me. Humbling experience. I had to switch majors. I waited too long. During my senior year, I decided to be a news reporter. And that summer, through a program that helped people of color called AHANA, which stood for African American, Hispanic, Asian, and Native American program, gave students of color support and fostered a community of belonging. And I was given a stipend and free housing on campus to work at a TV news station in Boston. And without that opportunity, I don't think I've been able to start my news career. TV news reporting brought me here to Harrisburg. I was accepted to one of the CBS affiliates, better known as Channel 21 News, and I did that for about 4 years, and it was an awesome experience. I learned how the community came together, operated, and I reported on breaking news and inspiring community stories. Little did I know then that I would be serving that same community as a city council member, a state representative, and now a state senator. It's been such an honor. I remember once I was assigned a story about an 8-year-old who was hurt by a pit bull. He needed 21 surgeries around his little ear. And despite the accident, Traquan had a personality that made you smile. Like everyone loved the news story because he would just be himself, dancing and smiling. And I wanted to see him do well. So I tutored him during that week when he had to heal and be out of school. 10 years later, I bumped into him in front of I think it was the post office. He was much taller, but the same sweetness and smile. And this made me finally feel part of a community that I was once an outsider to. During the early years of my time on city council, I was really struggling. I left the news business and politics was new and confusing. We had some really strong personalities on the board and we bumped heads. So I decided to reach out to a woman in my circle who also mentored others, including my husband. So I want to lift up Jewel Cooper, who met with me regularly while I was on city council, suggested books that would help me with my extreme fear of confrontation, which is not very good for politics, right? And kept me accountable. She also made me take this stupid personality test. I hated those things and I never took them seriously, but this one shocked me. I knew I was empathetic and maybe even too empathetic at times where, I felt like too soft, too weak. But when we finished the test, it said that my number one strength was my empathy. What? To acknowledge what I thought was a weakness my whole life was actually a strength. And that was a game changer for me. In 2013, I was elected to the PA House of Representatives, and I only learned that I was the first Asian American elected because a newspaper reporter asked me how I felt about it. I was like, really? It was surreal, and it was really awesome to have my dad watch me get sworn in. So another thank you is to one of my former colleagues, Representative Ron Waters of Philadelphia. He opened a door for me. He was the chair of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus back then, and he led the effort to change the caucus bylaws so that I would be able to join. They made the eligibility criteria broader so that all people of color could join. I was so grateful for Ron Waters because I've learned so much by being a member in the Black Caucus. For example, Representative Brian Sims once was speaking on the House floor for LGBTQ rights. He was the first openly gay legislator in the General Assembly. And as he was speaking on a particular bill, others tried to shut down the debate. I watched as Representative Vanessa Lowry Brown quietly got out of her seat, walked into the aisle so that she could be standing behind Representative Sims to show her support. Others followed, where the whole aisle was filled with our colleagues to help support the policy, the bill that Brian Sims was pushing for. And I'll never forget her example that said so much without one word. I also want to mention how PHRC and my office teamed up together during the Asian hate wave that came during the COVID days. There was a rise in hate crimes towards Asian Americans and used us as the scapegoat for the virus. Teaming up with Chad Lassiter and his team, we came together to help raise awareness and show support for other Asian Americans who were just scared, um, felt vilified, and felt really unsafe. And I'm grateful for the PHRC for coming together during a really vulnerable time and working together to help empower those people during that time. So my legislative priorities have been all about giving others opportunities, from raising the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour, for the second chance legislation, where it gives people an opportunity to erase some of their past charges that they had on their background for decades, and to finally get that off of their record so that they can have a new start, not have anything hanging over their head, and be able to be employed with jobs that provide a living wage or more, or even a career. And that's something that I'm very passionate about. I'm also working on quality public education so that every child in whatever neighborhood gets to have an opportunity to succeed, for apprenticeships and affordable college, affordable housing, and especially strong economic development plans in our areas so that we can create jobs and careers for families. Now to the part that we can all take part of. It's keeping the door open. After providing opportunities, how do we keep it open? And if you think of like going to one of the coffee shops, and you know that when you walk through the door, there's somebody behind you, and you just, for like 2 seconds, you just keep it open. But I like to use that analogy of keeping that open for just a little bit for the person behind you. Chad Lassiter I have a great example what he did when he came to visit my office, and we had a great conversation. And for those who know Chad, he just has so much love and wisdom to give out. He gives it out freely and makes you feel, really valued. But as he was leaving out from my office, he stopped by the woman, my team member who is at the front desk, just said to her, hey, and recognized her warmth and how he felt. And she greeted her and was very sincere about it. And after he left, she was literally floating. Like I was able to watch that, and it did something to her, I don't know if it lasted an hour or all day, but these types of encouragement make a big difference, more than more than some people will make a difference by fighting in a war, which I hope we don't have any more wars, or walking in a civil rights protest. But for some of us, it's just keeping that door open for the person behind you. My mom passed away when I was 30 years old of cancer, and it's been over 20 years now, and I miss her. And she would be in her 80s if she was still here today. But every time an older woman comes up to me, holds my hand, and says that I'm doing a good job and she's proud of me, I swear it's my mom speaking through her. Those compliments from literal strangers feel like a hug from heaven. And I'm so grateful for these folks who take the time to say those things to me. And I think it's extended my shelf life in politics because, as you know, it's a little bit crazy out here, a little bit crazy. And sometimes, sticking with it can be a challenge. So it is hard to quit when you imagine the countless people who opened the door for you and the ones that are holding it open now. You may be the only woman in the room. I may be the only person of color. You may be the only person of color in the room. But when you look back at the door you walk through, we're not alone. We're supposed to be here. We belong here. I'm not going to turn around and go past these folks who are holding the door and say, never mind. So today, I hope you take the time to think of the people who opened up big opportunities or even small opportunities for you, and be that person who encourages other people to keep going. And I'm excited where we will all go together when that happens. Thank you so much for having me. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much, Senator Kim, thank you so much for your humanity and sharing that with us.
Yeah.
We do sincerely appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know you were willing and able to take a few questions. I think we'll take up to 3 today. And if there are any questions, feel free to raise your hand or put those questions in the chat. We're open for that. And like you mentioned, it's a sunny day. So thank you for not keeping us captive too much today. We appreciate that. And once again, happy Women's History Month today. And thank you for giving us that history of, civil rights and Korean War. And so thank you for walking us through that timeline. We appreciate that here too. And we also have the picture of Executive Director Lassiter's wife here. So that's the picture there, if anyone's wondering. That's Mrs. Lassiter. We have a comment mentioning, thank you so much for sharing. Everyone who has had an impact on you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And I too want to thank Stella for her many years of work. I heard from Chad that she might be an introvert, and I love that about her. It's hard to be quieter in a very noisy world, but I hope that she gets a lot of peace and quiet and, I don't know, restorative time during her retirement. So congratulations, Stella.
Absolutely. I think it's a gift to be quiet. I honor people that way. All right. Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate that. So, and thank you for kicking off our Women's History Month series. Senator Patty Kim, we do appreciate you being with us today. And you're right, it is an interesting time that we're in. And so we're going to keep you in our hearts and our thoughts during this time, strengthen you during the time that we're in within legislation. So thank you for representing us, and thank you for being with us today. Do you have any final
Thank
thoughts?
you.
I'll give you if you have any final thoughts, to me your time. If not, we can keep it moving. But I just want to give you the floor for any potential final thoughts if you have any.
I think that we should, again, being supportive of each other, but also stay vulnerable. I think as women, we have to try to look tough and be like a guy and like to fight. But if that's not us, just bring our true selves. And I think we can be more effective that way. And I'm really glad that we can celebrate the women in our lives. And I know there's so many people out there who are listening who have made a difference. And I'm grateful for you. But keep going and let's make this our month and support each other. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Senator Kim. Thanks for being with us.